to talk about some rhetorical analysis skills. Get that looked up. So these are just some of the things that I want you to know, so you can use them in the future, and then we're also going to do a quick assignment with them, and it should be pretty easy. So first, what methods do effective speakers employ, use to persuade their audience? How do speakers or writers get people on their side? Number one, they use rhetorical appeals. We'll go over each of those. Two, they make allusions, so references to other works. And three, they use repetition, the same way that teachers a lot of times get students to understand material as they repeat it over and over and over again. So why are certain songs so easy to remember? The answer is they're repetitive. The chorus in a song is the part that repeats throughout and is thus easier for most people to remember. These are some old school examples, but I Want It That Way from the Backstreet Boys. The chorus of that song is so easy. And then, of course, Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson probably has one of the best choruses ever just because it's so catchy. And so it's easy to remember because she repeats. They repeat. And then, of course, if you've been on TikTok on any amount of time, then I'm pretty sure everyone knows Savage. So writers use repetition to hammer in an idea. Writers use repetition to have recurring themes. So like the recurring big idea, they'll put little hints of the big idea in throughout the novel so that you as a reader know what the big idea is. They'll have certain people that pop up here and there throughout, certain places, symbols, and writers want you to understand the material, but they're doing it sort of in a sneaky fashion. So they're making sure that you get the idea. Businesses use repetition. How many times have you seen a McDonald's commercial on TV and you know that their slogan is, "I'm loving it"? Or you've seen a pair of Nike shoes or a t-shirt and have immediately thought, "Just do it," because it's their slogan. It's what they use to associate the public with their business, and they're doing that through repetition. Politicians and public speakers use repetition to sway voters' minds and the public's minds constantly. Make America Great Again. How many hats have you seen that on? How many t-shirts? How many bumper stickers? It's repetition, not necessarily verbal repetition, though they certainly do use that as well. Sorry. But it's a phrase, it's something that you see again and again and again and again, and you will see that in the future. Next, allusions. So an allusion is an expression designed to call something to mind without mentioning it explicitly, an indirect or passing reference. Okay, that is a mouthful. So just know that an allusion is when someone says something that is saying something about maybe a story or a work of art or something, but they're not directly saying, "Oh, this is." I'm not directly talking about McDonald's, but having a McChicken for lunch. Maybe. Here are some examples. So Love Story by Taylor Swift. In that song, she says, "You will be my Romeo and I'll be your Juliet." And I'll be Juliet. So here, she is giving a reference in her song about love to Romeo and Juliet, the play by William Shakespeare. And then in non-literature, allusions happen as well. In Cardi B's Bodak Yellow, that song, she says, "These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes." So Cardi B never said that she was talking about Louis Vuitton shoes. She never said that. she alluded to the fact that she was talking about this. So those shoes have red bottoms and they're very expensive. So she didn't name it directly. She's just sort of alluding to that as what she's speaking about. So that is an allusion. So who uses allusions? Writers. Writers will often use allusions from popular sources. You will see these throughout, like as soon as you start looking, they're everywhere. The Bible, William Shakespeare. Shakespeare's a big one. Greek and Roman mythology. And so many of these sort of little like tidbits and allusions have filtered in to our society and how we think. Like if you've heard you reap what you sow, then that's an allusion from the Bible. But it can also be applied to maybe like if you're starting like a new workout regime. And somebody will say, well, you reap what you sow. So if you put in the work, you're going to get the benefits. That is an allusion. Politicians use them as well. And sometimes, I'm not saying that every politician does this, but certainly a lot of them do. So you can pretty much bet that any local or national political leader, politician, whatever, none of them are going to say that they are not religious. Not a one. And they will use God and religion as part of their rhetoric to get voters on their side. Because a great portion of the American public want to trust someone who has the same beliefs as they do. Because we associate a lot of things with religion, a lot of positive things that these people want to prey on. They want you to know about. So politicians definitely use that. And whether it is for their personal gain only or just for a common interest, that's for you to judge. So, and then the rhetorical appeals. These are the rhetorical appeals, and we are going to go over them 800 million times this year because I think that they are so important. Because this is how you know, if you want to know if a writer or a politician or anyone is lying to you, this is how you sort of detach yourself from your emotions and your first impressions and think about it sort of logically. So 1, you need to know ethos. Ethos is the appeal to authority. And I'm going to have examples throughout. Pathos is an appeal to emotions, and then logos is appeal to logic. So first up, we have an appeal to authority. This is information that comes from a predictably reliable source. Here are some examples. So if a doctor tells you that you should do something for your health, you are more likely to do it than if someone who works in a library asks you to do it. Because you believe that the doctor has authority to tell you how to live your life. And then, so I like Tom Hanks. I think we all do. So if he tells you that a movie is good, you might actually go and see it because he seems like a very reliable source. So how I remember Ethos is Ethos for Elizabeth. So Queen Elizabeth is one of the longest reigning queens, monarchs of England. So she is, at least figuratively, holds authority in that country. So I think Ethos for Elizabeth, and we know that Elizabeth is in charge, so she is the authority. Next up, we have Pathos. Pathos has to do with your emotions. So your parent or your friend might guilt trip you into spending time with them, or maybe you have like a manipulative friend who maybe gets you to reminisce, to think about like old times that you had together that were really fun before they ask you for a favor. So these tactics are trying to get you to feel invested, to feel emotionally invested in what they're saying before they ask you something or try to get you to sway your opinion. So how I remember Pathos, and it's kind of silly, but I think pathos, pathetic. Pathos, pathetic. So feeling pathetic, that is an emotion or a state of being. So I try to just think of it that way because it's so easy to say ethos, emotions, but that is wrong. It's pathos. And then the perfect example of pathos, if you cannot remember anything else, remember this video. I'm sure that you have all seen this video. This is Sarah McLachlan, and this song, you can just hear it. She says, "In the arms of an angel," and it's horrific to watch. If you want to watch it, you can click the link down at the bottom. But it's to make you feel guilty because you're not donating to the ASPCA, you're not helping these poor animals. So that commercial is preying heavily on your emotional state. So that is pathos. And then logos, I think logos, logic. That's how I remember that. So a locus argument is going to rely heavily on facts. You're going to have numbers, statistics, graphs, other information. And whether this information is verified or not, that is sort of up for interpretation. So it doesn't have to be verified information or factual information. It doesn't have to be true. They're just using these sort of tools to sway your opinion. So knowing these features is important to analyzing literature. If you know what tricks a writer or a speaker use, then you can better control your response and think rationally about what they are telling you. It also makes for good practice for writing papers. So if you're writing a paper, a lot of times you think, where am I even going to start? I don't know what to write about. Pick one of these things. Pick the Rhetorical Appeals, Ethos, Pathos, and Logos. And if it is a piece of nonfiction writing, so it's not a story, but it's actually about some research or something, if you pick the Rhetorical Appeals, you can have a rhetorical analysis of whatever you're writing or whatever you're reading, and that makes for an excellent paper. So, as you listen to the news, we're approaching election season, so as you listen to candidates sort of on the news, or you listen to people, maybe we're really big into cancel culture right now, if you listen to sort of the rhetoric of these people who are trying to tell you what to think, if you employ some of these tricks, you might have a better idea of what they're asking from you. So thank you, and if you have any questions, of course, email me and let me know.